They are not painful, they are not surreal. It's not that. One incident in Allah Khan Sahab's life is very peculiar, and we must understand it today. Khan Sahab had a lineage where from his mother's side and from his father's side there were wonderful musicians in the family who, by the time Allah Khan Sahab was born, they were already established as renowned musicians in their own right. And one of his nanas was Sajile. His pen name was Sajile. And he was very buzurg. By the time Allah Khan Sahab got his name and became famous, he was very old. So once Allah Khan Sahab was in that town, and he had already earned himself good fame, and he went to meet his Nana ji. And his Nana ji said कि अच्छा मैंने सुना है आप अच्छे गा रहे हो, बहुत नाम हुआ है, थोड़ा गा के बताओ बेटा, गा के बताओ. So Allah Khan Sahab started singing. He sang for some time, he listened patiently. And he said कि बेटा बहुत तैयार गाते हो, अच्छे गाते हो, मगर स्वर विद्या करनी होगी. Allah Khan Sahab got a shock. He said मैं जो गा रहा हूँ, what I'm singing is not स्वर विद्या. What is स्वर विद्या? Look at the word स्वर विद्या. Knowledge of notes. What I was telling you just now. Kelly. स्वर विद्या को देखना होगा. That didn't mean that Allah Khan Sahab did not look at the notes in different way or fully concentratedly, and he, as if he did not know how to utilize the notes in the rags or utilize them to create emotional effects and all that, because at that time Khan Sahab's voice was very, very wonderful voice. It was called as Tasirdar Awaz. Very effective kind of voice he had. And that means he did have that kind of mastery over notes and all that. But still his Nanaji felt that he needed to know the notes much better. He said, Nanaji, आपका कहना समझ में नहीं आया, मुझे क्या करना होगा? What will I have to do? He said, हमारे साथ रहो, 6 महीने रहो तो बताते हैं. And then that old man made him sit in front of him and taught him how to sing the notes and extract, I don't know what it could be. We are totally unable to understand what it was. But then Swar Vidya, as it boiled down to knowing the music that I have been hearing all my life and I have heard till about 4 years back, till the demise of my Guruji, Ustad Azizuddin Khan Sahib, 7 years back. Swar Vidya was to be able to create a picture, instant picture of a raga within 2-3 notes. Beginning of the raga. तुरंत पता चलना चाहिए क्या है. राग की शक्ल तुरंत निकल के आनी चाहिए. This was the phrase that they used to. पहले ज़माने में, in those times, if you went to some buzurg, knowledgeable old musician and said, I belong to this gharana, हाँ, शक्ल बताओ. What they expected of you was that the moment you started singing, you should be able to give the full picture of your talim of your gharana within a few seconds. If you really have had the proper talim, it should show within a few seconds. The mukhda of the bandish, it should spell immediately the kind of talim that you have got. Shakal batao. So Jaipur Gharana Gaiki is not merely saying, this is not it. Is not Gaiki. Swar Vidya is स्वर आणि व्यंजन हे दोन जे शब्दाचे अक्षराचे भाग असतात, कॉन्सनंट्स अँड वॉवल्स. Unless swar is added, utterance of any letter is not possible. Swara is the prana of your vacha, vani. Ka doesn't mean anything. Ka means something. Ka, ma, la. It means something. Doesn't mean anything. It has to be a full utterance of the word or the note. Sa, re, ga is sa with halanta plus a or a, sa or sa. If it has to be sa, then the a has to be added to it. If it has to be re, then the a has to be added to it. A, a, e, these are all vowels and they have to be very clear. And when we sing the Gaiki in our Jaipur Gharana, these swaras that are associated with the utterance of the notes, with the utterance of the words, they have to be clearly spelled out. This is not it. It becomes so easy. Even if it is Sugandha, this anga, Sugandha, no, anga, Sugandha. So all the pronunciation, the phonetical beauty of the words has to be brought out. And in the Gaiki, even when we are doing the Alapi, it is not only A. I can't say Alipi, A, Alipi, A. It has to flow. And the flow of the music, it cannot be stopped because of your improper pronunciation of these words. You can't hide the pronunciations. तोंडातल्या तोंडात चावून चावून गाणं आमच्याकडे अजिबात जमत नाही. कारण now here the interconnectivity of the lay and swar comes in. तर आता लय ठेका असता तर तुम्हाला सांगितलं असतं मी की जसं आहे when we are doing a rala, it's not as if once we sing the mukhda and we are done with it. Now for the next 12 or 14 matras, we are not concerned with the mukhda or the lay part of it. The mukhda sets the tempo, sets the lay for the composition. And the tempo, once set by the bandish, is carried forward in the same way. In the alap also. So what we do is, let me explain you just like this. When we are singing like in Sauni, we have one bandish called Dev Deva Satasanga. It's a very popular bandish. You can listen to it on the YouTube also. I think Bhubaiji has sung the Deva Deva Satasanga. But of course her Laikari at that time was not very much approved by Khasan because it was of a different kind. But then there is Laikari. But what we do, even singing the bandish and the Laikari, I'll let you know. Dev, Now the alap we will go like this. So the sections of tal, they are incorporated in the alap. This is the
intertwined.
This is where it comes in. And then, if I don't pronounce the words properly, if I don't allow these swaras to be developed properly, I won't be able to do the bol alap, bol tan also. It becomes very natural.
Yeah.
It follows.
Right.
It's not something that now I have to remember that yes, now I have to do this and now I have to do that. No?
Nice. I have one more question about the Jaipur specialties. It is famous for a lot of Anvat rags, Zod rags. So it's not about that, but the question was that certain rags are supposed to be treated as Bada rag, Vistar Kshamra, and certain are treated as Chota rag, याचा जीव लहान आहे असं म्हणतात. Why is it so?
आता बघा, you have to understand it this way.
And also the related question, Anvat rag. Why Anvat rag is Anvat rag?
Anvat is not very much popular, or maybe it is popular, but it is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, that's what I want to understand exactly what that means.
Because these Anvat ragas are the ragas that cannot be sung without a talim, proper talim. अब चंद्रक नाम का राग है, कभी सुना है आपने? चंद्रक राग है, हमारे पिताजी गाते थे, खान साहब गाते थे, मगर उसकी जब तक तालीम नहीं होगी आप गा नहीं पाते हैं उसको, क्योंकि so many of the ragas they are such a creation that they are handled with care. If you put a little stress on a certain angle of the rag, if you put a more stress on that rag, there are so many other ragas that are involved in creating that rag. It is made of many different shades of other ragas. So if you concentrate more on one shade, then the balance goes and the rag loses its
Identity.
Yes. And that balance is very precarious. You have to be able to maintain the balance, and to be able to keep the balance, you have to know all the shades, all the related ragas. Then only you are able to know what is the proportion of this rag in this rag. So it's a very, very delicate thing. And not many people are used to taking such care. Mostly what happens is people, of course nowadays I find it too common that you have to take one rag and keep on singing, matlab, trying to take out the whatever you can get out of that rag for, and the common person feels, array, so difficult to sing this rag, for 1.5 hours, 2 hours she sang this rag, when it was not supposed to be sung for this much time. कोई राग तो ऐसे होते हैं कि उनकी जान इतनी सी होती है. आप इसको समझ लीजिए कि वडाचं झाड असतं, बरगद का पेड़ होता है, the वटवृक्ष, the small fruit, it's like the fig. There are such small seeds inside, hundreds of seeds there. But once it gets germinated, once it sprouts into a tree, that small seed has such a strength that it can create many more trees out of it. And look at the coconut. इतना बड़ा होता है, उसके अंदर से you get only one tree out of it. Same is with rags. Rag like bhoop, it has only 5 notes. You can sing that rag for quite sumptuous time, you feel, I heard a very good bhoop, but not beyond 1 hour. No, because the number itself of the notes sets the limits for you. Whereas Yaman, well, you can create many more designs. But when it comes to Jod ragas are created out of blending of one rag, one major rag with some other ragas, or 2 rags, 3 rags, 4 rags. Sometimes they are not properly ragas that are joined together, they are the ang of the rag. इस अंग से ये राग गाया जाएगा. This rag is sung with this ang. Now thart is another thing and ang is another thing. Ragang is another thing and thart is another thing. Tharts are only 10. But ragangas are almost 30 or 33.
And just if I can stop you there for a second, because I didn't understand this. So Puriya is supposed to be a big rag.
Mm-hmm.
Sohni is not sung for that long. So what is inherent about that structure that limits the development?
Becoming repetitive. Because if you want to create designs, then you have to focus on different aspects of the design. And once the focus, that is the characteristics of Rag Sohni, once it is diverted to some other side, Sohni Uttaranga Pradhan hai. Up, if you want to just stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, how much can you do it? तो आप ये say कि नहीं थोड़ा नीचे जाएंगे, पूर्वांग में जाएंगे, पूर्वांग में जाओगे तो दूसरा राग हो जाता है. You can't afford to do that. तो उसकी जान उतनी है तो उसको उतनी ही रखनी चाहिए. तब राग की कैरेक्टर देखिए ऐसा होता है कि it's like we all have a face with 2 eyes, a nose and 2 ears and a mouth and all that. But then the proportion, length, breadth and the setting of the features on our face slightly different and you become a different person. नहीं मुझे आज जरा वो चेहरा बड़ा दिखाना है इसलिए मैं आंखें बड़ी करता हूँ. अरे चेहरा उतना ही है, आंखें बड़ी करने से क्या होगा? विद्रूप हो जाता है, distorted हो जाता है. And you can't afford to have distorted pictures of others. कई बार आजकल ये हो जाता है. So many people, because they feel, अरे क्या इतना ही दिया है ना, what do you think? हम ज़्यादा गाएंगे क्या? ज़्यादा राग देंगे? One very famous musician, she told me, what do they think? only this much money and they want me to sing 5 ragas. No way. I don't do it. A very big name.
Go ahead.
So I sing, even once I asked her, why did you sing Jinjoti for almost 1 hour and 40-50 minutes? And it was too much for me. I couldn't sit there. I had to get out because it was too much. सा पे इतना 15-20 मिनट, रे पे इतना 15-20 मिनट, ग पे इतना, उसका इधर जाओ उधर जाओ, इस राग का ये फ्लेवर लाओ, उस राग का फ्लेवर लाओ. It was becoming a ragamanika. Just to kill time and not to give people more ragas, she was spoiling this rag, the beauty of this rag, at the cost of one rag. लोगों को लगता है इतने से इसमें मेरा इतना गाना मिल जाएगा. नो वे, मैं नहीं देगी. सीधा मुझे जबान बोल दिया. मैं तुम्हें भी बोल देती हूँ, श्रुति, never do that. मगर at what cost? At what cost? बंदिश बिगाड़ के गाएंगे. जो बंदिश, if a bandish is set to Rupak, I want to sing it now for say 40 minutes. तो उसको खींच के एक ताल में लगाओ. Now a bandish like Sura Sangata Raga Vidya. Sura Sangata, Sura Sangata, Sura Sangata. Now if I want to stretch it to Bara Matra, Sura Sa. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm being unfair to the person who created it, to the person who taught me, and to the audience who deserved the original proper bandish. I'm fooling them. आजकल बहुत करते हैं. अरे कौन इतना गाते हैं? लेके बैठो चलो. And then the tabla player has to have a field day. बाजा वाला भी he has to have. ऐसा अगर करते रहेंगे, if we start, we are changing the format, we are changing the overall look of the mahfil. We are singing for money. We are not singing for the sake of the art. We are not singing for the sake of art. हम लोगों को उल्लू बना रहे हैं. We are making fools of them. And we are cheating ourselves. We are cheating ourselves. कहने के लिए हम संगीत की सेवा करते हैं, हम संगीत की साधना करते हैं. यही साधना है.
So on the topic of sadhana, can you say a few things about riyaz?
Yeah. Again, the word riyaz is used in a very, very different sense today. And it is misused by so many people. Today, we are training children for recitals. Recital, what is to recite? What is to recite? What do you mean by recitation? Tell me the meaning of...
To repeat something
To
that
repeat
you have.
something. And what is music? Is it repetition or it is creation? Music is नवो नवोन्मेष शालिनी प्रतिभा प्रज्ञा, उसका आविष्कार होता है. नवा उन्मेष होना चाहिए. हर सेकंड आपको नया कुछ सूझना चाहिए. There has to be a new creation every second. हर सेकंड में नया कुछ आना चाहिए. वही सुर है. It's the same notes, but they are presented in a different way. This is where my sadhana, my riyaz comes in. So what is riyaz? It is not setting... I must tell you one very funny incident. I got one student, she was very desirous of learning from me, and I tried to tell her I'm very short of time. I can't afford to have any more students. She came through a very, very influential person, and he said, at least give it a try. I said, Shruti, let her come to your place. I said, why do I have to bother her to come all the way? She came and she was not alone. She had a servant who was carrying 4-5 big packs of bags, and he had huge registered kind of books with him. And he was carrying, poor thing, Rakho. And I said, let me hear you. Let me see what you have learned before. I'd like to know how you have been taught. So, what do you want to listen to? I said, well, anything that you like. No, you tell me. I said, oh, she's so prepared. I said, any rag of this time? It was afternoon. This is the wrong time for me. I said, okay. Then she said, no, you have to tell me. I said, okay. Bhageshri, get the number 4 book. That poor thing here went through all these packets and I said, ma'am, there is no number 4 book. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't sing the rag. No, Bhageshri. I said, okay, then whatever you have, get it out. So she had a huge book in front of her. Sa, re, ga, re, sa. I said, let me have a look at that book. Each and every single thing that she was singing was written down. Number 1, sa, re, sa, 3, re, ga, re, 4, ga, re, sa. And rag, one rag was something like 20 pages.
Good thing she didn't ask the servant to sing for her.
I know. Really. And then I said, I can't teach like this. I don't teach like this. I'll show you the way you have to do it on your own. You won't write down anything for me. I said, no. I don't teach you to write. You have to sing. Oh boy. Then I don't think I can make it. I said, yes. I asked her to go. And I was relieved. I said, thank you. Because that was another way I found how people are cheated, how they are fooled. In the name of teaching, they are made to recite. Their own brain is blocked. Wings काट के आप किसी को छोड़ दो, कितना उड़ पाएगा? So many times we find people doing the riyaz, means some 5-10 riyaz, rang patterns, ala patterns. They are given to them. इसको 100 बार करो, इसको 200 बार करो, इसको 300 बार करो, and then they will keep on singing. That will create grooves in their brains, and when they sing, that's all they can do. Nothing at the last moment. No creativity on the spot. और इसको अगर सिखाना कहते हैं, then I'm sorry. A guru, a proper guru is one who makes you free, who lets you go free on your own. Find your own way. ये रास्ता है, मगर you are free to choose another way, make a mistake and find your own way again. Go find the right way. Because there is a definite logic in music. Music is a very, very logical science. People fail to understand the logic in that. People fail to make others understand the logic behind it. It is creativity, but the creativity has a method, like madness. It has a method. It has a certain logic. It is a perfect science. If it didn't have anything scientific in it, our music wouldn't have survived so many thousands of years. There's a definite science behind it. There's a definite thought behind it. Reasoning है उसके पीछे. ये राग ऐसे ही क्यों गाया जाता है? Certain ragas are created in a particular way. उसका सारा pros and cons देख के over the years people have tried to make beautiful designs out of it, and it has withstood all that. I can sing Yaman, you can sing Yaman, everybody can sing Yaman, and it sounds beautiful rag. Nobody gets bored with that rag unless that person is very, very bad. The riyaz में आप क्या करते हैं? What do you do? What do you practice? Yes, definitely. When you are a small child and going to the school, when you start writing, for your cursive writing and all, you are given the special books, notebooks where you have to follow the dotted lines. And at that particular time, every child has the same handwriting, isn't it? But as you go on, you develop your own handwriting. And there comes a time when your whole personality is reflected in your handwriting. You can make out what kind of a person you are. So the handwriting can become your reflection of your personality. Same this music. आप रियाज करते समय, what do? There are certain basic things that you have to know and you have to practice them. Just as you teach your baby to say papa, say mama. ये है. They are the basics. But then, mama, I want this. Mama, I'm not going to do this. This comes later. But for that, the baby has to learn to know, say mama, has to learn to say papa. So riyaz is this. And basic things, once mastered, once you know how they function, then you have to find your own way to create your own designs, find out the potential of all the notes that are there in that raga. What are the rules? Get to know the rules. Indian music, khyal singing is a beautiful thing, I feel, because there is bandhan. You have restrictions. इस राग में ये सुर लगेंगे, ये नहीं लगेंगे. There are certain, जैसे परहेज करते हैं, पथ्य पानी होता है लगड़े तसा. इस राग में इस स्वर को वर्जित किया जाता है. This swar is the vadi, this swar is the samvadi. Although there are many other notes there, this and this swar has to be more important. This is a little lesser important, but much more important than the other notes. This rule has to be known very well first. And then I am given the liberty to experiment with it. This experimenting, the freedom to experiment, to know what you cannot do and what you can do, is riyaz. You can't say, हाँ ये तो इन्होंने भीम सिंह जी ने ऐसे गाया है, ये रशीद खान ऐसे गाते हैं. But I am not Bhim Singh ji. I am not Rashid Khan. I am not Lata Mangeshkar. So what is my plus point? And what are my limitations? The place, the time when I get to know myself and my capacities. My minus points, my plus points. That is riyaz. And then how to turn my negative points into positive ones is riyaz. Then I'll find out the way. Why I can't do this? I'll try to do this. There is a limit how much I can try. Not at the cost of my voice. So many people spoil their voices. I have a friend who used to take part in so many competitions along with me. We were always first, second. And there came a time when she went to a very famous family in the film industry, and she started learning with the Panditji over there. And he said, I'll train you like my sister, but then you'll have to learn to do so many things, and you'll have to stop eating this and stop eating that, and you'll have to practice in this particular way and all that. Poor thing, she did all what she could do. Once we were in the same class as when we were doing masters, and she wouldn't sing in the class. I'm not allowed to sing in the class. I won't sing. I said, what happened to you? No, my Guruji has told me not to sing. I'm not going to speak unnecessarily. I said, okay. And then when everybody sat on her head literally once, she said, okay, I'll sing that song. And then she got the harmonium. We couldn't hear her voice. Because she said, my voice is trained for studio and not for public singing. I said, okay. And then she was made to sing in a some program where she was supposed to sing some old songs and all that. And at that time her voice cracked. Because that was not her original voice. They tried to train her in a different way, but her voice was not originally like that. She got very bad reviews and people hooted her. She got such a shock. She went into depression. And it was a mess. So you have to realize what are your shortcomings. That is the first thing that you should know. Don't ever copy anybody else. Don't ever try to be like somebody else. Be yourself. Why should I be somebody else? Why should I be somebody else? Nowadays I find that so many young children, they'll listen to Kesarbai Kelkar. And now YouTube has, in a way it's a good thing. In a way it's affecting the music careers of many people, positively, negatively. They noted the tans of Kesarbai ji, the same rag Bhim Singh ji, the same rag Abdul Karim Khan Sahib ji, the same rag Amir Khan Sahib ji, the same rag Kishori Tai ji, the same rag Ashwini ji, the same rag Parveen Sultana ji, and all this, and see that beautiful tan, I got it down here, I got it down here. और उसका रियाज करेंगे, उसका रियाज करेंगे, उसका रियाज करेंगे. और जब मुझे ललित गाना है, तो किशोरी ताई का तान तो हो गया, अब किसका लेना है? हाँ, कुमार जी का तान लेना है. हाँ, अब वो, हाँ, परवीन सुल्तान का तान लेना है. It becomes a hodgepodge, just a bag of so many collections of so many different tans, and they don't realize aping somebody else is not you. And I used to hear her doing the riyaz. And ask her, कैसा रियाज चल रहा है? आपने सुना नहीं, मैं कल रात को 2 बजे तक रियाज कर रही थी. अब her guru didn't tell her, and I had no business to tell her that what you are doing is wrong. मगर उसमें हो क्या रहा था कि there was no full picture of the rag, because I'll tell you what happens. किशोरी ताई का एक तान मुझे अच्छा लगा, मगर the तान came at this juncture of the presentation. What was there behind it, and what is going to be there after it? भीम सिंह जी का ये तान आया, उसके पीछे पहले क्या हुआ था? It's the result of all that happened before, and it's the basis on which the other things afterwards rest. ये लोगों के ध्यान में ही नहीं आता. रियाज करना, तान इसका तान लेके नोटेट करो, इसका रियाज करो, इसका तान लेके नोटेट करो, रियाज करो. What are you doing? You are not understanding the logic behind that tan. Why it is there? Why it came like this? Why it can't be different? किशोरी जी का तान जो एक समझो 57th नंबर पे है उस इसमें, और भीमसेन जी का जो 7 नंबर पे है, उन दोनों का जोड़ कैसे आ सकता है? तो ये रियाज की जो कल्पना है, किस चीज का रियाज करना है? What is the thing that you have to do? You have to understand the logic. I don't mind listening to somebody else. You do have to listen to so many people. But then when you are listening to them, try to understand their logic of building the rag. Their logic of presentation of the rag. That is riyaz. Riyaz not, गले से गाना केवल रियाज नहीं है, दिमाग का भी रियाज होता है. और आजकल दिमाग का रियाज ही नहीं है. आजकल बहुत फेम होती है, लोग बच्चों को, इतने छोटे छोटे बच्चों को 5-5, 10-10 लाख रुपए मिल जाते हैं फटाफट. नाम भी बहुत होता है. हमको कोई नहीं जानता, हमको सब लोग दुनिया जानती है. क्यों? हम 50 साल से गा रहे हैं, हमको 5 लोग जानते होंगे, उनको 500 लोग जानते हैं. मगर उससे क्या हो रहा है? उनको कोई विद्वान नहीं कहेगा, बिकॉज दूसरे का झूठा जो रखा है उसी को उबाल उबाल के वो गा रहे हैं, वही कर रहे हैं. आज पैसा मिल रहा है, फेम मिल रहा है, उसको कौन छोड़ेगा? मगर एक जमाना था जब when we were also young children, हमारे पीछे भी लोग पढ़ते थे. मेरे पिताजी कहते थे ना, इस घर में रहकर इतना नहीं गाएगी तो हमको चुल्लू पर पानी में मरना पड़ेगा डूब के. हमारे घर में पैदा हो गई, इतना नहीं गाएगी क्या? इतना क्या विशेष है? What is so special about it? She is born in this house. Day and night she is listening to all these things. She is bound to reflect on that. It is not her music. Let her be able to create her own music, then she will go out as a musician. She has no right to do it now. I'll tell you one incident in my life. My mother, my father, both were such wonderful people. Once I came from my college and a student was waiting in my house. And my mother was not keeping well. She was lying down just nearby and I was teaching right in front of her. It was Guru Purnima. So this girl said, Tai, I would like to know something, some new rag today. Can you teach me Marwa? I said, okay. We started on Marwa. And the Rishabh of Marwa, Re, is too much. You know, you can't make anybody understand that rag unless you understand that Re. And that Re is the key point of the rag. And she had a good voice, very powerful voice. But she was unable to get that grade of Re as is needed for establishing rag Marwa. One very important thing is that if you have practiced on harmonium, harmony was at one point of time was considered to be a demon, Rakshas.
Yeah.
And it still is to a certain extent. Those who are used to singing on with the accompaniment of sarangi or veena, they find it very jarring. Because it is a tempered scale. The scale has been tempered with. We have compromised on the frequencies, and so it doesn't give us the proper frequencies which are needed for the differentiating the ragas and their grades of notes. So she was unable to get that note properly. And in those days I was very hot-tempered. So my face maybe must have shown it, and she started crying. I said, don't cry now. You can hear me talking, you can hear me speaking, and you can hear me singing, and why can't you sing like me? He said, no, I can understand what you say, but I can't sing it like this. For 15-20 minutes we were at it, and so finally I said, okay, today I'll teach you a new Bandish and Rag Yaman. because you know it very well and you can sing the Yaman. So you learn that new bandish and we'll see tomorrow. So she went away. My mother said, Shruti, what was going on today? I said, Dekho na ma, I was trying to beat some sense into her, but she was unable to understand what I was saying and she was unable to sing that ray. I said, Acha, you are able to do it, yes. I said, yeah. Why? I said, I've been doing it since I was a baby. बचपन से करते आ रही हूँ. Okay. She said, बचपन से यानी a long time, huh? I said, yes. See, Shruti, this girl, now that she has gone home, on her ears, the doors are locked. They won't open till she is in this class again. So maximum 8 hours a month she gets to listen to the Tanpura, be with the notes, be with the sur. And you, on the contrary, एक दिन में 72 घंटे का संगीत सुनती हो. You get to listen to music which is equal to 72 hours a day. Isn't it a difference? I said, yes. You have been listening to these various grades of the notes since your childhood. This girl doesn't have the sanskar. कान पे संस्कार होना चाहिए. She doesn't have the संस्कार. वो संस्कार उसके कान पे करने का तुम्हारा काम है. To make her understand the grade of ray, common ray, you have to make her understand in her own language. Try to translate it in her own language. Tell her, give her different designs, give her different examples, show her different designs. Let her know it in different angles. Teach her to look at it from different angles. She touches your feet. She calls you Guru. आज गुरु पूर्णिमा है. Deserve your guruship. You have no right to take a namaskar from anybody unless you become a good guru. And these were her last words. Wow. After that she was not there. She passed away. But she told me कि you have been sitting with a vessel under a fall, great fall, just like Niagara. आप वहाँ से पानी भरते हो और बोलते देखो I got so much of water. कहाँ से आया? तुम्हारे घर में बह रहा है कितने सालों से? Where is your music? Where is your contribution to music? Have you been able to make your own contribution to music? How much is it? Try to see that. If you want people to come and bow in front of you, become a good guru. तब I understood कि मुझे क्या practice करना चाहिए. I have to practice to become a good guru. And what is that practice? I started looking at notes in different angles, different ways. I started to learn how to explain the notes to the others, to my students. How to explain, create the rag in many different ways, and to bring out the beauty of the rag. And this is what we do in Riyaz. There is a certain tan pattern. For me it's very easy because it just comes out of my gala like that. Because it has been there since my childhood. It's like breath to me. But when it comes to explaining it to somebody else, किसी को समझाने के लिए मुझे उसको खोलना पड़ता है. Another incident in my life happened when I was learning from Gulu Bhai Jazdanwala. Jazdanwala sahab never used to explain any tans or alaps in notes. वो सारे गामा जो है तुम देख लो, हम तुमको बता देंगे. हम तान गा के बता देंगे वो क्या है वो तुम देख लो. Not that he didn't know, but he was throwing the challenges at me. देखो क्या है, देखो क्या है. And he knew that I would lap up all the time. So it so happened कि a certain rag which I had heard as a baby, ever since I was a baby I had heard that rag for so many years, and I had heard my father sing it. I had accompanied my father on Tanpura with singing the same rag with him. So the tan patterns and all, once he would give me a design, I knew how to complete it and how to sing it and all that. So some particular tans he was trying to explain to me. He was trying to make me sing. I sang because it was ready in my mind. I knew the notations also. So I sang. He would say, no, ऐसा नहीं है. I would sing it again. नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. You are doing it wrong. Again I would try. नहीं बाबा ऐसा नहीं है. My father was not there. At that time he had gone out somewhere. I started keeping silent. I wouldn't utter a single word. And my mother would nudge me from behind. Go, go, go. And I would feel कि ये तो मैं कितने साल से गा रही हूँ. I've been singing it since ages. And how come he says कि it's not right? It happened twice, thrice. He used to come on Sundays. From 5 to 9 o'clock, he would give me talim. And suddenly it became too much once. And in the night after we had had food and all that, I tried to sleep and it was nagging me all the time कि I can't sing the same things that people had said कि अरे श्रुति का गला कैसे जा रहा है, and I'm not able to do it. And I think I'm doing it right. And where am I going wrong? I couldn't understand. And I got so frustrated, I started crying. I was sitting in the balcony and I started crying. My mother woke up. What's wrong? What happened? I said, I don't know. I've been singing the same things for so many years and same rag I've sung so many times, and he's saying I'm doing it wrong and I can't understand where I'm going wrong. I said, okay, very nice. I wanted this to happen to you, Shruti. I got very angry. I said, you're laughing at me. Why are you laughing at me? She said, I wanted this to happen to you. I said, what do you mean? She said, you are taking it for granted that you are doing it right. In your mind, you have decided that what you are doing is right. Maybe at one point of time, at one point of your age, it was like a chamatkar for people to listen to you. See how many years you have come out. इसके बाद में 10 साल गए हैं श्रुति. Now this is not expected. There has to be something different than this, and he is expecting that of you. Again उसको reopen करो. उन तानों को open करो. Open those tans again. And evaluation करो. Each and every note का evaluation करो. What role this note is playing in this tan. Whether there is a slight difference in the timing that has to be given to this note. Maybe that subtle timing change is not there, what he is expecting. Look at that. Open the tan again. Go back to what you have learned before. Go back to what you have done before. ये हो जाता है. We take for granted, yes, this is right and I'm doing the right thing. But it is not expected of me. He expected something different than what I was doing previously. So this is, where the role of parents, the gurus, comes in. They have to be very critical of you. It might sound very bitter, very harsh at that time. But there has to be somebody to tell you where you are going wrong. Even the slightest thing should not be left. And that's why I don't allow my students to do their riyaz at home unless they have learned for at least 5 years from me. घर में रियाज नहीं करना है, मेरे से जो करना है मेरे सामने करो. No riyaz at home. So many times I find parents, बच्चे को क्लास में आज सुबह में डाल दिया, शाम को बैठा बैठा चलो रियाज करो. हम अभी तक सारे गामा फिर से रोज खोजते हैं. वो बच्चा, the child who has been introduced to सारे गामा today, he doesn't even know. And सारे गामा, all these things, they are such abstract things. I can't explain to the child that this fat thing over there is sa, and this small frail looking thing is re, and that black thing is ga, and that soft thing is ma. There is no way I can make him understand sa, re, ga, ma. So abstract. Especially for those students, those children who come from a background where there is no music at home. But the mothers are very keen that the child should start doing the riyaz. If the child does the wrong riyaz at home, it becomes a double work for me to make him unlearn it, undo it, and make him do it the right way. पहले थोड़े दिन तो हमारे यहाँ तो हम बिल्कुल घर में रियाज करने का परमिशन ही नहीं है. No रियाज at home. Whatever you want to do, you do it in front of me. I'll correct you. The second thing I tell my students and their parents, you will not ask me, what did you teach my child today? And you will not tell me what to teach. Here I am the parent. I will decide what is good for my student, what is his capacity, what and when is my decision. If you don't trust me, I don't need your child to come to me. No. I don't do it for money. I don't charge anything. Go away. If you don't have faith in me, you don't come to me. क्योंकि उसका डबल काम कौन करते बैठेगा. And sometimes nowadays I find that there are tabla players. They are the gurus. घर में जाकर रियाज के समय once one lady came to me. She came with a tabla player. Firstly, she had not taken the permission to bring her tabla player. I thought maybe it was her husband or somebody, but it didn't look like one. And then whatever questions I asked her, he started answering. I said, please shut up. I did not invite him. You have come without taking my permission. Either get out, or if you want to sit here, please keep your mouth shut. I had to be blunt, because he didn't know what his role was. No, I take her riyaz, every day. I tell her how to start the alap and how to finish the tans. But I said, why does she need me? Please go. I can't teach you. Out. Because they start taking over. They start taking over. तबले के साथ रियाज करना, the tabla has to be a time machine. That's all. That's all. You should never allow the tabla to take over. Yes, tabla is a very important aspect of music. Laikari is a very important aspect. But he should not be the teacher. He should not be the guru. He can tell you. If I allow him to say, he can tell you where you can go wrong, or if you are making mistakes in tal or something. He can tell you half a matra is missing. But he cannot tell you, हाँ यहाँ से शुरू करो और अब ऐसा करो, फिर इसमें ऐसा करो, फिर इसमें ऐसा करो. No. What you have to do for years? Keeping the time, keeping the tal, knowing the tal. Allow the tal to flow in your body. Let it be with you. And we have not given ourselves a chance to explore our capacities of our brains. आप कभी ऐसा प्रयोग करके देखिए, धा दिन दिन ना। अब मैं कुछ भी करूँगी, आपके साथ बात करूँगी, मेरा हाथ ये टाइमिंग बिल्कुल भूलेगा नहीं, ये करता रहेगा जब तक आई डोंट स्टॉप, इट विल गो ऑन डूइंग। और ये प्रैक्टिस करना बहुत आवश्यक है। ताल हम वी कांट कीप विद द ताल, व्हाई? आदत करो। समथिंग वेरी सिंपल, मन के अंदर चलने दो। आई एम डूइंग ऑल माई हाउस होल्ड थिंग्स, आटा गूंथ रही हूँ, चपाती बना रही हूँ, और कुछ काम कर रही हूँ, मेरे दिमाग में मेरा राग चल रहा है। आई एम ट्राइंग टू एनालाइज द राग, आई एम लुकिंग इनटू द तान पैटर्न्स ऑफ द राग, मगर आई डोंट स्पॉइल माय खाना।
अष्टावधानी व्हायला पाहिजे पण
Yes.
त्यासाठी
अष्टावधानी is the right word for that. Ashtavadhan. A performer has to be Ashtavadhani.
What
It-
is,
first thing,
I want to know the meaning of the.
Ashtavadhan. Ashta is art.
Oh, okay. Art.
Avadhan is consciously aware होकर आपको इन चीजों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए।
अच्छा.
What you have to do first is you have to know that you are performing. Some people mistake the performance as a रियाज, और जो रियाज में करना चाहिए वो सब परफॉर्मेंस में करते हैं, और उसी से एक राग खींच के लंबा 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 करके उसकी जान निकाल लेते हैं, है ना? कई बार ऐसी गलती हो जाती है। Some people do the riyaz at home and consider it as a concert, as a program. Actually, that is the time when you have to look at the things that you cannot do easily, जिसको आपको मास्टर करना है, उसके लिए 1000 बार करो। आ आ आ आ गसा मसा, so you have to keep doing that. तो ये फिर गाते गाते सब हो जाता है, मगर unless you sit down and look at it and गसा मसा गसा मसा गसा मसा 1000 बार करो, that is practice, that is रियाज। मगर गसा मसा मसा प प प प प ये करना, ये नहीं है। उसका एक पैटर्न सॉल्व करो, उसको पूरा खोल के, लाइक जैसे बचपन में हम मैकेनो वगैरह करते थे। It's like opening up the things again and trying to put them back again, reassembling things. उसको खोल के देखो how it works, bring it back together. This is where the रियाज comes in. मगर ये होता नहीं है। और when you're sitting there for a performance, at least this is what I do. I'm not talking about others. I have no right to do that. Whenever I'm doing anything, I have developed a habit of looking at myself as a third party from somewhere else. What is Shruti doing? कितने बार ऐसा होता है? So many times people like the concert, they keep clapping, क्या गाना हुआ, what beautiful music and all that. I don't get carried because I know I wanted to do 100 and I have been able to do only 65. Certain things I couldn't do it today, or maybe I wanted to do them in a particular way and I have not been able to do it. I don't go home, people liked it so much. Yeah, they did like it. But then, was it something that I really wanted to do? Or was it something that I was successful in doing what I wanted to do? Be a third party, look at yourself as a third person. Be very critical about it. Then the rag, which has to be followed in the proper way, उसकी theoretically, you should not say कि हाँ वो सुर वहाँ घूम रहा था, I called it in my rag. No. Once in a while कोई लोग करते हैं, हमने सुना है, मगर that can't be taken as an example.
But for Riyaz, especially here, if you are not learning from your teacher 24/7 and doing your practice at home by yourself, how does one make sure that whatever practice is doing is in tune, is वाटतं आपल्याला की हां ठीक चाललंय. Suddenly you realize that this was all besura. But you don't realize it sometimes. You sing, when you listen to a recording, then you say this is pathetic, and then you get frustrated. But when you are singing, how do you make sure that it is in tune?
For that, first you have to develop the habit of listening to the tanpura. Or today we have come to such a stage that we are making do with all the electronic things. Everything is ready-made. Just have to tap the button and it starts playing in tune. And that has spoiled the whole picture. पहले ज़माने में क्या होता था? Students were made to play the tanpura manually. Tune the tanpura. If you learn to tune the tanpura, physical tanpura, acoustic tanpura, if you are taught to tune the tanpura, you develop a very nice sense of notes. सुरीलापन आ जाता है. क्योंकि it's not easy to tune those 4 strings. Tuning those 4 strings is something very, very difficult.
About the tanpura, if you listen to certain people's, even old recordings, when they used to have just one microphone, not 5 microphones or just one microphone. But even those recordings, you can hear the tanpura level is at a certain level. You can hear tanpura even if everybody is at high volume and fast tempo, druta bandish, anything, tarana, kahi aso. You can hear tanpura at a certain level. But in most concerts, you don't hear tanpura at the same level. Is that because of certain techniques? Or Bhimsen Joshi, you can hear the tanpura. There is not even a microphone for the tanpura.
कुमारांचे तानपुरे?
Yeah, Kumar Gandharvanचे tanpura.
त्याचे तानपुरे सुरू झाले की आता मैफिल सुरू व्हायची आपल्याला. His मैफिल is to start with the tanpuras first. Such beautiful tanpuras, so beautifully tuned. Because how do you decide that the tanpura is properly tuned? For that you have to develop the definite sense of the placing of notes. And there is a logic. There is a physics, there is mathematics behind it. वो समझाते नहीं हैं. It is not explained to the students. कि how do you make sure that the pancham is in tune? How do you make sure that both the jod tars are in tune? That's another very big subject.
So do you hear the resonance when
Yes.
when the
Yeah.
two are in tune?
Gandhar.
स्वयंभू गंधार आहे, ऋषभ आहे, निषाद आहे, कोमल निषाद आहे, कधी कधी तीव्र मध्यम ऐकायला येतो. तुमच्या ट्युनिंग जितकं फाईन असेल तितके सगळे तंबोरातून स्वर मिळतात तुम्हाला. पण लोक ओव्हरऑल हे करताना दीज मशीन्स दे डोंट गिव्ह.
The vibrations that you're feeling, the sound vibration, that is less in this versus the tanpura.
No, they're more discrete, and so they don't resonate in a way that can produce those other frequencies.
Other harmonics.
It's the harmonics.
Harmonics, right?
Harmonics you have to learn. There's a certain technique, there's a certain
असं
mathematics
कधी
behind it.
कधीच वाटतं, असं काही वेळा अनुभवाला आलं, मला स्वतःला वाटलं. आता was it?
Makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if it was a fluke or I was just lucky or guessed it right. I don't know. तानपुरे लागलेत and now you know सकाळची वेळ आहे, so you already have eliminated lot of rags and you know what rags this particular artist normally sings in the morning, so you already have a set of rags to guess what probably is going to sing. And तानपुरे लग गए and you know it's Ramkali, not Bhairav.
Yes.
So how often does that happen? Is it only
Well,
with
if
certain
you
musicians?
are a
Or?
properly trained musician, if you are a properly trained disciple of a certain proper group, what we do is, कई बार after the one presentation is over, we take the tanpura, do the zawari, we adjust the zawari, we adjust the money also, because there is certain level of harmonics is needed, and unless we get that, we can't just enter that world of that particular rag. ये जवारी और इसका कोई करता ही नहीं है. At the age of 8 or 9, I was taught how to put in the tars and how to do the javari. So many times these nerves have been punctured. As फट से खून आया है. Because I didn't know how strongly I have to tighten the peg or how to loosen it. हाँ लगने दो. My mother would say, अरे लग गया, लगने दो, पता चलेगा. I tell you one incident. We had one Tanpura wala from Miraj. He was deaf and dumb. Deaf and dumb. But he would bring Tanpuras, brand new Tanpuras, and unless he brought some 10 Tanpuras, my father wouldn't select even one or two of them. ऐसा नहीं था कि whatever he brought, we accepted it as हाँ ये तानपुरा चलेगा. No. लेके आओ फिर देखते हैं. He had his certain critical examinations, and then he would say कि okay, this one we'll keep, otherwise return all those others. So this person, once the tanpura was selected, he would ask, काली दो, काली चार, and he would tune it perfectly.
Wow.
मेरे अंगार अजून काटा. He knew what pressure was needed. This is what I learned from him. नाही तर त्याला ऐकायला येत नव्हतं, काही नव्हतं.
नाही पण he probably sensed it also.
आणि त्याला माहित होतं की
Some people have
तार एवढी लूज असेल, कशी टाईट केल्यानंतर ती काळी दोनला चढेल, कशी टाईट केल्यानंतर काळी चारला जाईल. वंडर्स ऑफ वंडर्स. म्हणजे तुम्हाला सांगताच येत नाही की ह्या गाण्याच्या जगामध्ये काय काय चमत्कार आम्ही बघितलेले आहेत. हा चमत्कार नाही का तुम्ही सांगा.
So did he feel the vibrations? With the vibrations, he knew what was right.
And the kind of pressure, how tight the peg has to be.
Right.
Tight.
But then he would play it and he would feel the
Could be.
resistance vibrations.
Could be.
So
Wow.
But then,
some senses he has to have to realize.
definitely.
To cross
And he was a
check it
tanpura
against-
maker. He was a tanpura maker.
Wow, sorry.
See, today, so many of the musicians, great musicians, they travel all over the world. They have got so many padmas and all those things. They are not even able to change the tars of their instruments. जवारी नहीं करते हैं. 12-12 साल में जवारी नहीं करते हैं. Once I asked my tanpura player, tanpura maker, he had come to deliver something to me, and I said, Majid, from here, where do you go? I'm going to Madhya Pradesh. I said, okay. क्या नया ऑर्डर है? नहीं दीदी, वहाँ जाके केवल जवारी करना है. जवारी के लिए जाओगे? हाँ.
आजकल किसी को आती नहीं.
नहीं, उन्होंने हमसे तानपुरा लिया है, तब से उन्होंने हाथ नहीं लगाया. And we, even if I am not living in Mumbai, every 3 months I change the strings of my tanpura, I change the javari, I do the javari myself.
Do you teach your students to do it too?
They have to learn it.
So Shruti ji, do you think music can only be started at a very young age to completely understand its full potential?
You see, what happens is when you are young,
Yeah.
and if I tell you to do something 100 times, you do it. As you grow older, इस बार हो गया, आ तो गया है, मुझे अभी क्या करना है. ये उम्र के साथ बुद्धि में बुद्धिभेद हो जाता है. ऐसे लगता है कि मुझे आता है, अहंकार बढ़ने लगता है. It's not अहंकार actually, but the सेल्फ के लिए जो एक ये होता है, एस्टीम होता है कि बिकॉज यू अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स, यू अंडरस्टैंड द लॉजिक, मगर केवल अंडरस्टैंड होने से, लॉजिक अंडरस्टैंड करने से गला नहीं काम करता, दैट यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. अब मेरा बेटा भी कभी कभी सामने बैठता है सीखने के लिए, तो समटाइम्स ही यूज्ड टू फील कि I know these songs, mommy, in case because of these students I have to sing it all over again and again. I said, no way, you have to do it all the time with them. When you are sitting in front of me, you are not my mulga. अपना अहंकार जाके बाहर क्रश करके आओ अपने टोज के नीचे और आगे बैठो. You are my student and you will do what my other students are doing. No concessions for you. And this has another incident at the back of it. I was about 6 years old. There was a girl who was a little older than me, and her mother was very keen that her daughter should sing because her mother's times they never allowed the girls to do music. That lady was a doctor. She would come all the way from Kurla. Her daughter was in Grand Road, St. Columba. And she would travel all the way from Kurla to get her daughter from the school. After the daughter came to Hindu colony, she would sit in the car, she would have snacks and milk, and she would come upstairs to learn from us, my father. She used to be tired, and she was a brilliant girl. So everywhere she was first class, first rank and all that. But when she used to make mistakes in music, the father would say, baby, mistake ho gaya. She would zip up, she wouldn't open her mouth. Because so many times, even I have experience with my students, parents say a lot of things about their children. My baby, you know, she stood first in this, she got this prize, she got this prize, she plays tennis, she plays, she goes to the drawing class, she goes to the Sanskrit class, she does this and she does that and she does that and she does that. And the child doesn't have the habit of saying you did something wrong. It hurts their pride. It hurts their ego. This girl would shut up. So my father told her, mother, get another girl with her. Get somebody else also. So that she knows that she is not the only one who makes a mistake. There is other person also there, sitting there. She is also liable to make a mistake, and mistakes are just common. It's not something that she's done something very, very wrong. They didn't get any. So I was made to sit with her. So this is how my formal education in music started. Once my father said, ki, next class I'm going to make you sing this and this, and you better practice this composition and be ready with it. So next time when you come, baby, I want to listen to this. So the next class, I saw this girl coming and oh my God, my father was going to ask us this, and I have not prepared it. I decided. I came upstairs. I was playing down. Came upstairs, sat with her. My father said, Shruti, shuru karo. And he would expect me to say, give the tal. All full hour, it should sound like this. Not one small like this. Khar, khar, khar. And it used to pain. It used to pain my hands also. So that day, baby she was counting the tal. So anyhow, the tal, and I was comfortable with tal. So I sang it. My father had something in front of me. He deliberately kept something in front of him. He knew I was very mischievous. So I sang my portion and everything. I said, Bhau, I have finished. Ah, okay, are you finished? I said, yes. So what about tal? He said, I didn't make a mistake at all. I said, yeah, you didn't make a mistake. But then why did you count the tal? I said, it is. Oh, acha, acha. He just dragged me like this. Okay, I'll keep the tal now.
No.
I knew it was going to be punishment. He just started doing the tal like this. And I tried to push his hand away. No, I'll do it now. And I was much more hot-tempered when I was very young. So I got very angry. He was punishing me, my father punishing me in front of the other girls. I felt like crying, but I wouldn't cry. So for 1 full hour he was almost slapping me like this. My mother once or twice, she just looked at her and looked away. Kept on doing that. And it was paining so much. After the class got over, I was very angry. I went downstairs to play and I was limping like this. My mother said, Babu, do you want me to apply something? No, I'm not hurt. I went downstairs. After some time I came up, we had our dinner. My father said, no, I'm not in the mood to eat. I'll have it afterwards and all. I was fuming, but I didn't say anything. Then my mother quietly asked him, you get angry with me? Even if I scold her. मेरी बच्ची को आंखें भी ऐसे नहीं दिखाना, उसको लग जाती है. और आज आपने क्या किया? 1 घंटा भर बच्ची के इस पर मार दिया, काला नीला हो गया है. बच्चे को देखो तो इतना छोटा बच्चा है. वो बच्ची नहीं है, दूसरी जो लड़की है. The other student, Shruti gets a concession. The next time this girl also will say, no, I will not count the tal. When she is in front of me, she is a student. She will be punished if she gets a feeling कि I am given a concession, I can do whatever I like. जिस हाथ से मैंने उसको आज मारा है, उस हाथ से मैंने खाना नहीं खाया. मगर मेरी बेटी कभी भी ताल में मिस्टेक नहीं करेगी. उसका ताल में गलती कभी नहीं होगी. And see later on कितने ताल गाती है. And then there came a time in '79, I recorded some 13 compositions, khyal compositions in 13 different tals, 12 compositions on pakhavaj tals, on devotional compositions. So many different tals I sang. That time my father had tears in his eyes. But you know, that incident goes back to saying कि when you are teaching even your own child, you have to be as strict as you are with other students. Otherwise, it means nothing.
Sivankani has...
Yeah, Sai, I had a question. You mentioned earlier about the evolution of a musician moving from, riyaz to bringing your own personality. So how do you teach that to a student, or how does a student learn that process? Because how do you sort of learn the process of exploring your own personality through a rag, as you say to riyaz?
Yesterday we were talking about some ragas, that some people can sing some ragas. Some people say, no, I don't have the talim of this rag, so I won't sing it. And some people like me, I'll tell you one incident. My very first conference in Delhi, way back in 70s, early 70s, I was told that the concert would start at 9:30 in the night. And I was the junior, so I was to present my compositions in the beginning, and then I was followed by Brijbhushan Kabraji, and then it was the last concert was Kumar Prasad Mukherjee of Agra Gharana. So I had mentally prepared myself for certain ragas of that time, because there was previously there was going to be one full night of music, so I didn't know who was going to sing what. So whatever ragas were not sung in that on Saturday night, I was supposed to sing I was going to sing some of them on the Sunday night. But on Friday, there was a small get-together arranged for artists to get to know each other and all. I was told by the organizer, Shruti, I forgot to tell you that we have changed the plans. I said, okay. The concert will start at 6:30 and you will, with the first artist. I said, okay. And I was sitting in a corner, and after some time, both these artists who were going to follow me, they came to me. Ah, you are Shruti? I said, yes. So, are you going to sing Puriya Dhanashri? No. Then you must sing Rag Marwa. I said, no. Why? I didn't know who they were. He said, I am Brij Bhushan Kabra and Kumar Prasad Mukherjee. So we are going to sing after, he is going to play his guitar and I am going to sing afterwards. I said, okay, nice to meet you. But then the ragas that you have just said, I have not thought about them. So what are you going to do? I said, just about 5 minutes back, this lady has changed the plan and told me. I have not given a thought to it. I have not decided to do anything right now. So I said, nahi, you can sing this, you can sing that. I said, I don't like Puriya Dhanashri, I don't sing it. And Marwa also I don't sing. Acha to Yaman gao. No, Yaman I don't sing. So फिर क्या गाओगी? I said, let me think, I'll think about something. He said, थोड़ा ये गाओ वो गाओ ये गाओ वो गाओ. They tried to suggest me and somehow it didn't work with me. And again that age was a little different age, so I don't like people telling me आप ये गाओ वो गाओ. कभी नहीं. I don't take orders from anybody. Never. So finally I got so upset. I said कि आप बुरा ना माने तो प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट यू हैव डिसाइडेड. नहीं भैया हम तो 4 राग करके आए हैं, 2 तुम गा लोगी 2 ये बजा देगा तो हम क्या गाएंगे. कुमार प्रसाद जी सेड, ऐसे तो आप ऐसा करिए ना, आप क्या बजाएंगे ये आप आपके 2-4 राग बताइए, आपके 2-4 राग बताइए, उनको छोड़कर मैं गाऊंगी. अच्छा तो इतना है तुम्हारे पास, देख लेना, आप देख लेना. And finally what I sang was, they were not going to play or sing. So that was out of question. But then it so happens that certain rags, I can't attach mentally myself to those ragas. Like Puriya Dhanashri. Puriya I like, but Puriya Dhanashri no. Somehow अच्छा लगता है, सुनने में ठीक लगता है, मगर मेरा उसके साथ कुछ जमता नहीं है, बनता नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं कि उसकी तालीम नहीं है. I have been given the तालीम, but still I don't feel like singing it. There is one rag, just plain nut. So when my Guruji started teaching it, somehow the picture was not clear at all, and I was never so. मतलब I never took the liberty of telling him नहीं ये अच्छा नहीं लगता है वो अच्छा नहीं लगता है. Never. Whatever he wanted to teach me, I learnt it. So I learned that rag. But whenever possible, I would pick up take the pages before and after and skip over it and go to another rag. अच्छा कौन सा करना है? तुम हमेशा you take out those 4 pages together. Get the book here. I want to see what is there. Then again said, नट नहीं गा रही हो, बहुत दिन हो गए. So many days have passed and you are not sung नट. चलो फिर से करो. And that day he said, उनको वो पसंद नहीं है ना. ऐसा पता नहीं हम उसके साथ जुड़ नहीं पाते हैं. Okay, आज मैं गाता हूँ तुम सुनो. And then somehow he sang it in such a way, beautiful. And I never needed to get any more talim of that rag. I could sing it. It's happened with Bahaduri Duri. Once I heard Kishori Dai sing it. And then it was clear for me what to do. You know, sometimes other people explain the rag to you. There are some blockages in your understanding of the rag. Sometimes some people make certain ragas sound very, very pathetic, like kind of mood, with pathos mood, and some people like to attach moods to the rags, moods to the notes. This is something I don't understand. Yaman, agar if you keep listening to Aansu Bari Hai Jeevan Ki Rahe, you will feel ki Yaman is a rag for only crying. Right? There are such beautiful songs, happy songs in Rag Yaman also. So you can't associate one particular rag with a particular rest or particular emotion. It is up to you to create the emotion. You can get out of that feeling of, no, I can't sing this rag. You can try. This is again where Riyaz comes in. If you feel you can't sing that rag, why can't you sing it? Where is the block? And this develops your personality as a performer. Because you are prepared to give it a try. Recital is a different thing, and performing on the spot is a different thing. And you have to create a performer who's free, who's happy, and who has the guts, who has the daring to try out different things on the spot in front of the people and take the risk and see it through. You have to have that kind of a daring. अगर आप डेयरिंग नहीं करोगे, नहीं इस पर आवाज नहीं जाएगी, क्या करेंगे? तो घर में गाओ. Then why do you need a concert? इसमें अवधान यही रखना होता है कि राग का शास्त्र मालूम है, फिर भी उसके बाहर जाकर इट्स अ फ्रेम, बट देन बंदिश में स्वातंत्र नहीं. बंदिश में ही आपको एक खुलापन है. यू आर बाउंड बाय फ्रेम्स, फ्रेम ऑफ दैट राग, बट देन you have the liberty to express yourself in many different ways.
So, you said about recital and exploration, and it's being a mental exercise also, intellectual exercise
very
also.
Much so, very much.
So, from artist standpoint, obviously you are trying to make it Ranjayati iti ragacha nusar, that it has to be aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
But at the same time, from your point of view, it's buddhya. It's not just Gisa Beta just because it is aesthetically pleasing. It's not. There is a lot of creativity going on and a lot of mental exercise on the artist's part. From audience, what do you expect?
Well, in fact, I feel in an audience, we can't expect everybody to know music, everybody to understand music, everybody to critically understand music, or everybody to be a performer. There are many different layers of people, layers of understanding. Some people are there just to see कि क्या होने वाला है, देखने को चलो देखते तो है क्या है, म्यूजिक कॉन्सर्ट कैसी होती है देखेंगे. कभी सुना होता है, देर आर सम ग्लैमरस पीपल इन द फील्ड ऑफ म्यूजिक, एंड उनका ग्लैमर देखने के लिए लोग जाते हैं कि भैया बड़ा नाम है, देखने जाएंगे क्या है, व्हाट इज दिस, हु इज दिस पर्सन. फिर वो ताम झाम है उनका, आना जाना बैठना, उसी का चर्चा होता है. क्या गाया वो समझ में नहीं आता है. लाइक in somebody's house, I had been to their house and I was very happy to see the Britannica over there, set of Britannica, and I needed some explanation, so I said, well, I have the time now. I was tuning, my tuning finished in 5-10 minutes and there was some time. So I said, okay, I'll ask somebody to get that one of these issues down and volume down and I'll get explanation. I told the lady of the house, I want to look at one of the books. She sent her servant, भैया जाके देखो दीदी को क्या चाहिए. I asked that man कि जरा मुझे वो book निकाल के दीजिए. वो नहीं निकलेगा. I can't get it out. I said why? कुर्सी ले दीजिए, ऊपर है, बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर तो है नहीं, निकालिए. नहीं मैडम जी. It was only outer cover. Show certain बाहर. Leather binding के लिए, it was only a show. There was nothing inside. तो कई concerts ऐसे होते हैं. There was all show and nothing inside. फिर ऐसा होता है कि there are some people who have learnt music at some point of time. So they know the basics of swar and tal. कोई भी सुरा होता है तो ये सुर में ठीक नहीं लगा. Some people are there who have learned for quite a longer time, although they are not practitioners of music. They know where you are going wrong. And if there are good things that you do, they are there to appreciate it. सही जगह पे गर्दन हिलाएंगे, सही जगह पे वाह वाह करेंगे, सही जगह पे you get the feedback from their eyes. There are people who are actually the practitioners of music. They are the ones who are performers. There are some critics. ये सारा मिलके ऑडियंस होता है. तो ऑडियंस को आप जज कर सकते हो उसको देखकर ही, like Kesarva used to do. She would sit in the audience and first she would look at everybody there. अच्छा ये आया है, ये आया. तो आज ये गाना है और आज ये बिल्कुल नहीं गाना. Because she was very possessive about her music also. She had banned some certain people. ये इनको हटा दो तब जाके हम शुरू करेंगे. She will drive them out. They should be out, otherwise I will not sing. She had some of her ideas. So the audience, when you turn a student into a performer, you have to make him understand what audience is. And you can't do everything to please the audience. You should not. You should not. Because you also have a responsibility of cultivating the taste of the audience. It's like this, कि अभी बच्चा छोटा है, जो दूध आता है, पैकेट में दूध आता है, वो सीधा देने से बच्चे का पेट खराब हो जाएगा. So थोड़ा पानी मिलाओ, थोड़ा पानी मिला के दूध दे दो, so the baby can digest the milk. But there comes a time when the proportion changes. पानी less, दूध ज़्यादा. अब बच्चे को हजम नहीं होगा करके उसको कल दूध के नाम पे पानी पिलाएंगे तो कैसा होगा? ये हो रहा है. कई लोगों के कॉन्सर्ट में जाओ, पानी परोस देते हैं दूध के नाम पे. And the audience also is responsible for that. There are no good music critics.
Yeah.
हमारे ज़माने में, in our times, there were certain music critics जिनको देखकर कोने में बैठे देखकर यहाँ कांपते थे हम लोग. No, I have to be very alert. Once it so happened, Sudhir Nayak was playing with me for the first time. He was playing for the first time, so he was sitting in the green room. ताई संभाल लेना, मैं पहली बार आपके साथ बजा रहा हूँ. I said okay. तो I sat with him for some time and told him कि ये गा रही हूँ उधर, ये गा रही हूँ. My tabla player and sarangi player, they both had gone for a cup of tea. They came just I was going onto the stage. So I told my tabla player, he was usually there for the last 35 years he's playing with me. So I told him कि the first will be Vilambit Tinta, the second will be Ada Chauta. He said okay. I started singing Jaunpuri, हूँ तो जइयो बंदिश, and I saw Mohan Nadkarni ji, Sharad Sathe, and many other people sitting in the audience. And with the first sum, second matra, I realized my tabla player had started on Ada Chautal. So I showed him this, and he thought, aha, क्या ठीक. Now Ada Chautal is 14 matras and Teen Tal is 16 matras. The bandish had already started. I looked at him and he was happy playing the Ada Chautal.
What was in the review next day?
It was immediately after the concert, not the review. I didn't have to wait for that.
You sang the whole thing in Arachota.
Yes, I sang the whole thing in Arachota, the concert for 3 hours I sang. I gave the full concert and I came home. I was just unlocking my door and the phone started ringing. I went running to the phone. I knew it was Mohanji. Shruti, I said, yes. Was there some kind of a gap of communication between you and the tabla player? I said, क्या हुआ? क्या हुआ? I heard the first time Jaunpuri, हूँ तो जइयो in आड़ा चौथा. It is तीन ताल, Shruti, it is तीन ताल. I said, yes, I know. But what could you do? Because the day before, in the evening, there was a concert of a performer who was very famous for jappifying the artists, accompanying artists on the stage right in front of the other people. If I would have done the same thing, क्या बजा रहे हो? It would have meant insult for the person. It would have meant spoiling the whole atmosphere that I was trying to build. And the rest of the concert, that person would have felt guilty, bad. And audience would definitely have thought, what does she think? She's that person or what? लोगों को सबके सामने उसको insult कर रही है. So I didn't have to wait for the review to appear in the papers. I got the feedback immediately. Shruti. But then this can happen. Because human being है, ऐसे हो सकता है. हो सकता है. And then, what is the talim? In my talim, my Guruji used to do one thing. I used to go to him at about 7:15, 7:30 in the morning. And Indurkarji used to be playing tabla with my Guruji, who used to sit for his riyaz in the mornings before I reached his house. And he would play tabla with left hand and baya with right hand. So some khyal would have started, and suppose it was in teen tal. My Guruji would say, chalo, shuru karo. So I would be singing in teen tal. Around 8 o'clock, Muhammad Ahmad Khan Sahib would come from home like this, with his shoulders up like this. And he would come home, and he would be somewhere in some different world of some different tal. He would sit down next to Indorkarji, Narayana Indorkarji, Bekhas, and he would just take the baya from there, and the next song he would start his own tal. It could be Ada Chauta, it could be Jhaptal, it could be Savari, it could be Bhima Rupak. First day when it happened, I stopped singing. My Guruji said, क्या हो गया? रुक क्यों गए? हम तो 3 ताल में गा रहे थे. तो ये क्या है? नहीं, ये आड़ा चौथा है. ताल नहीं है. ये ताल नहीं है. ये ताल है. गाओ. And the whole thing I had to convert into आड़ा चौथा. Sometimes I had to convert the whole thing into झपताल. कभी सवारी, कभी चंपक सवारी. On the spot change करके बंदिश को बिगाड़ना नहीं है. That was his first principle. And I got a compliment once. I was asked to sing at the 11th hour, to sing in a conference in place of somebody. So I put the phone down, and immediately somehow my Guruji called me. I said, Guruji, I'm going to sing tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. हाँ? हमको बताया नहीं? ऐसे नहीं, अभी आपके पहले ही फ़ोन आया था और अभी उनको मैंने हाँ बोल दिया है, क्योंकि वहाँ उनके पास गाने के लिए उस स्लॉट में कोई है नहीं. आइन वक्त पे बुला रहे हैं, पहले से नहीं बुलाया. ऐसे नो, मगर वो गुरुजी ने बताया था. He was my professor, V.R. Athawale. I did my masters under him. They said, Shruti, I have given my word कि Shruti will never say no. और एंड वक्त पे only Shruti can sing, nobody else will say yes, क्योंकि हमारा रियाज नहीं है, ये नहीं है बोलेंगे, तो श्रुति को बोलेंगे. मैंने कहा, मैंने हाँ बोल दिया. अच्छा, तो क्या गाओगे? तो I said कि yesterday night I was आपने मुझे विभास सिखाया है, रूपक में है. That विभास is in a very high, very slow रूपक. So if I don't get my normal tabla player जो मेरा है वो है नहीं उधर. So whoever is going to accompany me, maybe he will not be able to catch that high lay. So shall I sing it in Jhaptal? हाँ, करो, गाओ. I said okay. And for the whole time then, I sat down, practiced to sing it in Jhaptal. And the next day morning I went there and started on that khyal. Nirutya Sarnaik was sitting there. Nirutya Sarnaik, V.R. Athawaleji, my Guruji, Firoz Dasturji, Jal Balpuria, Sushila Nanjudia, all the great artists in Mumbai were sitting in front of me. And the moment I came onto the sum, Nirutya Baji looked at the tabla player and myself. Again, he thought I was under the misconception that he is playing Rupak, and I was sort of making a mistake in Tar, or maybe the tabla player was not getting it or something. I sang the Astai twice and I went on to the Alap. No. Sing the Astai Yantra again. I said, okay. I was very happy because I had prepared it the whole night. So I sang it and I came on the first sum as if the whole thing was originally in Rupak. Because Nirutya Baji used to sing it in Rupak. It was Khasa had taught everybody in Rupak. But I was singing in Japtal. Acha, okay, bahut achhe. Means, this kind of changeover, one has to do it at the last moment if the situation demands. You can't say, कि हम तो रूपक में गाते हैं, रूपक नहीं कोई बजाएगा तो हम क्या करेंगे. एक गवैया का जो अमेरिका का टूर कर रहे थे, उनके बारे में मैंने सुना था. वो he came back to India and he said कि श्रुति, I had a horrible time. I said yes. क्या हो गया? He said that this particular place, I got a tabla player and I was prepared to sing a khyal in Ektal, and he said I can only play dadra. He said Ektal का ख्याल मैंने दादरा में गाया. And this does happen. What can you do? After all, the performance is more important. How you develop it, हवा उसमें कैसे पैदा करते हैं, that is art, that is artist. And these situations, you should be prepared for it also. अब ऐसा नहीं कह सकते कि इनको रूपक नहीं आ रहा है, मैं कैसे गाऊंगी, मैंने ये राग इतने दिनों में नहीं गाया, कैसे गाऊंगी. तो इतने दिनों में क्यों नहीं गाया, और प्रत्यक्ष रूप से गले से गाया भी नहीं होगा, फिर भी आपका विचार होना चाहिए. When my Guruji was sick, even when my father was ill, I have seen him बैठे बैठे ऐसे ऐसे ये करेंगे, काउंट करेंगे, सोते सोते ऐसे करके हाथों की उंगलियां चलेंगी, ऐसे करेंगे. He used to say, my father used to say, I asked Allah Khan, whenever he was conscious, his fingers would count the beats. So he said, I asked Khan Sahab, ये आप क्या कर रहे हो? बेटा रियाज कर रहा हूँ और क्या करूँगा. Even if you are not able to sing, physically sit down to sing, अंदर आपके चलना चाहिए. That mental रियाज should not stop. तो रियाज क्या होता है कि आप बार बार जो आपको सिखाया गया है उसको देखो, उसको खोलो, उसको अलग अलग तरह से उसको गाने की कोशिश करो. Try out different ways. That is एक ही लेके उसी 4 राग 4 आलाप 4 ताना को लेके गाओगे, रटते रहोगे, रिसाइट करते रहोगे और वही जाके लोगों के सामने उगलोगे. That is not a performance. No. That is not a performance.
काय वेळेचं कसं आहे?
Not a problem. आम्ही इथंच राहतो.
We can continue.
आणि काय
Do you guys have questions?
मॉर्निंग रियाज के बारे में आप थोड़ा
ये मॉर्निंग के समय रियाज करने का एक ये इसके लिए है. मॉर्निंग टाइम रियाज इज इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज यू आर फ्रेश, योर माइंड इज नॉट डाइवर्टेड टू मेनी डिफरेंट problems that arise once you start working or once you start doing things, other things other than music. Then
You can focus better.
yes, you can focus better. The climate is better. The air is fresh. Your mind is fresh. And the best thing is that you are able to sit down and concentrate. Concentration is the most important thing.
Yes.
Concentration.
Shruti ji, आपने बताया, all the things you have said today, most of it is from the artist's point of view. But in that process you told us कि कई बार आर्टिस्ट पानी भी परोसता है, तो एज एन ऑडियंस how do we know कि हमको पानी परोसा है?
It is the responsibility, you know, what I feel, it has been always the, you have seen the history of music, great names, great musicians were given patronage by many courts in India. राज दरबार के गायक होते थे, and those Rajas, Maharajas, they definitely used to make it a business to know what music is. They kept themselves all the time ready with the knowledge. They used to participate in discussions. They used to discuss with many different vidwans. साहित्य कला सबकी जानकारी रखते थे. जैसे शाहू महाराज ऑफ कोल्हापुर, when he had अल्लाह खान साहब as his court musician, he used to have शायरी मुकाबले होते थे. शायरी के मुकाबले होते थे. शायरी which is typically Urdu. In Maharashtra, in Kolhapur, state of Kolhapur, there was no business of Urdu there. But then he used to call shayars from outside. He used to have mushairas, he used to have kavi सम्मेलन्स. साहित्य, कला, संगीत, शिल्प, चित्र, सबके साथ they used to keep themselves abreast. It is the responsibility of the audience not to allow the artist to serve you the pani.
Yeah.
आप लोगों की धाक कहाँ है? आज धाक वाली ऑडियंस है ही नहीं. आज के कलाकारों को किसी की धाक नहीं है. दूसरा ये होता है, सामने सुनने वाले कितने कलाकार होते हैं? किसको सुनने के लिए किशोरी दे सामने जाके बैठी है, किसको सुनने के लिए जसराज जी सामने बैठे हैं, किसको सुनने के लिए भीमसेन जी सामने बैठे हैं. तब जाके धाक बनेगी. गाने वाला पानी नहीं पिरोसेगा. ऑडियंस में से कोई उठ के नहीं पूछता है कि ये क्या चल रहा है. जो घर में सर्कस करना है वो घर में सर्कस करके इधर फाइनल परफॉर्मेंस दे दो. घर का रियाज यहाँ मत करो. कोई पूछता है किसी कलाकार को? ऑडियंस की धाक नहीं है. ऑडियंस अगर एक एंटरटेनमेंट के रूप में अगर संगीत को देखने लगता है, तब केवल उसको एंटरटेन ही करते हैं, उसमें विद्या नहीं आती है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ द यंग जनरेशन आर्टिस्ट आर नॉलेजेबल आर्टिस्ट्स? गिव मी 2 names. Young ones I'm talking about. कौन ऐसे हैं कि बैठकर मेरे साथ मल्हार के प्रकारों का डिस्कशन करे, नट के प्रकारों का डिस्कशन करे, बाहर के प्रकारों का डिस्कशन करे? कोई है नहीं. दे फील 10 राग, एक अस्थाई, एक द्रुत ख्याल, चले पंडित बन के घर से बाहर. Nowadays the parents are well to do. बच्चे को एक इंग्लैंड अमेरिका का टिकट निकाल के देते हैं, जाओ जाके उनको परेशान करो. रियली. और नाटकबाजी देखिए अब क्या चलती है नाटकबाजी. भीमसेन जी कैसे आके बैठे थे स्टेज पर, आज बच्चे क्या पहन के बैठते हैं स्टेज पर? कार्टून लगते हैं. दे आर इमिटेटिंग द ग्रेट आर्टिस्ट. इसका रिकॉर्ड बाय हार्ट करके इसको सुना. दूसरे के रिकॉर्ड आपको सुनाते हैं. आप कोई उठ के पूछते नहीं है. आई हैव अ फ्रेंड इन स्विट्जरलैंड, एक सितारिया, वन बिग नेम इन सितार. ही टोल्ड हिम, यू विल नॉट स्टेप इनटू स्विट्जरलैंड. You are copying all the records of Vilayat Khan Sahib and playing them. Don't try to fool us. Get out of here. No more programs for you. ऐसे कोई है ही नहीं. लोग उल्लू बनने के लिए तैयार है, तो इनका क्या जाता है?
2 बार दूध पी लिया तो फिर पानी फर्क पड़ेगा ना.
इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है?
इसका सॉल्यूशन ये है कि you must make it a business to know about music. What is music? Music is not an entertainment. Not solely entertainment. It should please you, yes. सर्कस बाजी नहीं लीजिए. What is the essence of music? It should take you within. आपको अंदर लेके जाना चाहिए संगीत ने, और उसमें विद्या होनी चाहिए, कुछ दिमाग को तकलीफ भी तो होना चाहिए. आप समझेंगे कि भाई तकलीफ सर वो आर्टिस्ट ले ले और हमको केवल बैठ के आधे लोग सोएंगे, then you can't expect. बताइए.
Some blame lies in the critics too, right? If everybody just
There are no critics, my dear. There are no critics.
I mean, there are critics, at least people I know of. They just write good stuff. There's no.
Yes.
What happened?
What is
could we
criticism?
learn?
Criticism is not say goody goody goody.
Right.
Because so many times people are paid to write.
Yeah.
There is one person, he has passed away now. He called me one day specifically to tell me, Shruti, you and your father are the only people in this music industry I have known who have never come to me with boxes and presents to call me to attend this concert and write good things about it. I had to say this to you, I had to tell you this before I die. सुमित साऊर म्हणून होते.
Sumit sir.
Yes. नावही तुम्हाला सांगितलं. त्यांचे मिसेस अजूनही येतात माझ्या कार्यक्रमात. अगर उन्होंने क्रिटिसाइज किया तो मेरे पिताजी ने ऐसे नहीं पूछा कि हाउ डेयर यू क्रिटिसाइज माय डॉटर. नो. ऐसे कितने क्रिटिक्स थे पहले ज़माने में कि जिनको दिल्ली में ऐसे एक दो चार जन थे कि उनकी सफ़ेद टोपी कोने में दिखाई देती थी, पता चलता था कि अगले गुरुवार में रिपोर्ट आएगी. गुरुवार के टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में रिपोर्ट आएगी. आज धाक ही नहीं है किसी को. आज जो चल रहा है बंदर का खेल चलता है स्टेज पर, ना आर्टिस्ट को दूसरे आगे वाले या पीछे वाले आर्टिस्ट की धाक है, ना ऑडियंस की धाक है, और क्रिटिक्स तो कोई है नहीं. तो जो चल रहा है बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है, बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. कभी किसी ने पूछा है कि भाई इतने प्रोग्राम्स कर चुके हो, इसमें तुम्हारे राग इतनी बार रिपीट हो गए हैं, कुछ नया सुना. रिकॉर्ड्स कैन नॉट बी योर गुरुज. बाजार में रिकॉर्डेड म्यूजिक मिलता है मगर दे कांट बी योर गुरुज.
So if there's one question I had about going back to the Anvat and the Jod Ragas and the association with specifically the Jaipur Gharana. So what is it about, is either historically or through tradition, that the Jaipur Gharana
I'll tell you
attracts?
something very interesting. When Aladdin Khan Sahib came to Maharashtra, some of his very first concerts in Kolhapur, he sang Rag Deshkar, he sang Rag Ramkali, and people there who were supposed to be great musicians in Kolhapur, they started criticizing, देखो भूख को बिगाड़ के सुबह गा रहे हैं, भैरव को बिगाड़ के सुबह गा रहे हैं, कैसे देखो कैसे कैसे सुर लेके गा रहे हैं. जबकि अलादिया खान साहब came from a very very long tradition of musicians. They had wonderful combinations of rags with them. जैसे साख के प्रकार हैं, नट के प्रकार है, कानड़ा के प्रकार है, जैसे मुंद्रिक कानड़ा है. कौन गाता है ज़्यादा? कोई नहीं गाता है. जैसे चंद्रक मैंने कहा, चंद्र कोई नहीं गाता है. नट किन्नर है, कोई नहीं गाता. नट नारायण है, कोई नहीं गाता. ये किसी ने गाया ही नहीं, किसी ने सुने ही नहीं. जैसे उमा तिलक की उस दिन मैंने बात की आपसे. उमा तिलक तो हमारे घराने में किसी को मालूम नहीं मुखी कौन गाता है. आपने सुना है? नहीं. तो ऐसे राग हैं कि जो महाराष्ट्र ने नहीं सुने थे, ना कर्नाटका ने सुने थे, ना गोवा ने सुने थे. ये जो लोग जो अल्लाह खान साहब की जो पुरखों उनके बुजुर्गों की जो परंपरा है, the tradition of Aladdin Khan Sahib goes back to Shri Chand and Manchand and all those old masters. They were Brahmins, and at one point of time, in order to free their prince from the clutches of the Muslim ruler over there, they had to accept Islam. So they accepted Islam. They tried to come back to Hinduism, but our Pandits in Banaras, they never accepted him back. But Khan Sahib, his family, was Drupadiya's family, and they had, just as I told you, Lale Khan Sahab from mother's side, Khandar Bani, Gobrahar Bani, the tradition goes from there, and his father's side, Dagur Bani. All those traditions, they all came together. And Alade Khan Sahab was born very late. His father died when he was barely 14 years old. And then he started learning from his uncle. And his uncle taught him so many bandishes, drupads and dhamars and khyals. So when he started singing, his music was different music. It was not Jaipur Gharana music at that time. People make this mistake of saying Alade Khan Sahab belonged to the Jaipur Gharana. No. He was the pioneer of Jaipur Gharana. Khan Sahab went on touring, and he went to many different states, and he went to Nepal. He went to so many different states in India. And in one state called Amaleta, he was made to sing day and night, all times of the day, for 6 hours, and it put a lot of strain on his vocal cords, and he lost his voice. And the tasir that I told you about, the effectiveness and the melodious effectiveness in his voice was lost. Once then slowly his wife told him, you should not only pray to God. Try from your own side. Take this tanpura and start again. And he again started practicing. He got his voice back, but then it was a little heavy and broad, and not the flexible suppleness was lost, And he had to now create a different style of singing to be able to project the rag and project his thoughts. It was not as easy as it was before. So the new style in which he started singing and developing in those 2.5 years that he lost his voice and got it back, during that time he thought a lot of many different ways of executing the tans, the alaps. And this is how his music started becoming different from his brother's music, Haider Khan Sahab's music. So you can see the difference in Haider Khan Sahab's talim to Mogo Baiji and Alade Khan Sahab's talim to Kesari. Haider Khan Sahab also later on started learning from Alade Khan Sahab because he was his brother, and they both used to sing together. But then Alade Khan Sahab, when he came to Kolhapur, his style of singing was called as Kolhapur Gharani ki Gaiki. Then after the demise of Chhatrapati Shahu, Alade Khan Sahab came to Maharashtra, Mumbai. And it was said that ye Mumbai wali gaiki hai. And then people asked him, how come you sing such different rags and these jod ragas and all that? He said, they are in our gharana. Our family has this treasure since how many years? So I'm only like a postman, I'm giving it out to you. So then they said, what do you call your gaiki? Because your brother's singing is different and your singing is different. He said, I can only say, he was a very humble person. He never used to boast about anything. He was never utter a single word against anybody. And he said, हमारी तो जयपुर अतरौली की गायकी है, because his ancestors came from both the states. So it is Jaipur Atrauli ki gaiki. So from him started the Jaipur Atrauli Gharana. Before that, it was not Jaipur Atrauli Gharana.
What was the influence of Haveli Sangeet and at what time?
His forefathers, they used to be the court singers of Jaipur, Jodhpur, Udaipur, and there they came into contact with these Havelis, the Pushti Margi Sangeet of Havelis. And there Khan Sahab got to listen to this Bihagda, Naiki Kannada, and then he converted some of the kirtans into khyals, like Pyari Paga Hole Hole, Mero Piya Rasiya, केदार का जो बन ठना कहाँ चले हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो कीर्तन.
एक क्वेश्चन मेरे को, जैसे आपने अभी आपने कुछ ख्याल के कुछ नाम बताए, उस ज़माने में जो बनी थी, जो वर्डिंग्स थे उनके, वो उस ज़माने के लिए मतलब अच्छे सुनने में अच्छे ही लगते हैं, बट विथ चेंजिंग टाइम्स आपका क्या उसमें, आई जस्ट नीड योर इनपुट के लिरिक्स कैसे चेंज होने चाहिए आज के ज़माने के लिए, ऐसी कोई पॉसिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, नहीं होनी
बहुत
चाहिए?
लोग ट्राई करते हैं. देयर आर इंग्लिश कॉम्पोजिशन नाउडेज.
अच्छा.
So many people are trying.
No,
from their own end.
I'm not talking about it has to be English composition, but जैसे कि
नहीं,
you know, कभी कभी जैसे मैं बच्चों को सिखाती हूँ तो कभी मेरे को उनका मीनिंग ट्रांसलेट करना होता है, तो फिर मुझे थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट भी होता है कि बच्चे नहीं समझ पाते या रिलेट नहीं कर पाते, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट इन दैट टाइम एरा. और तो वो एक मतलब what are your thoughts about it, like
well, many people have tried to compose in the modern way, like Kumar Gandharva.
हाँ जी.
उन्होंने कूली के ऊपर एक गाना बनाया है, कॉम्पोजिशन बनाया है. जो कूली सामान उठा के लेके जाता है उसके ऊपर भी उन्होंने बनाया है.
अच्छा.
तो such brilliant people, such genius.
I mean, is it something to be appreciated or criticized?
Why not? See,
You know.
any composition,
हाँ जी.
if it is presented
हाँ.
in a sensible way
अच्छा.
and the way it will make the whole thing, the bandish should be able to carry the राग. ऐसा नहीं कि राग कुछ अलग है, राग का टेम्परामेंट कुछ अलग है. जैसे कोई लोग कहते हैं कि ये राग बहुत मर्दाना राग है और कॉम्पोजिशन सखी मैं क्या करूँ अगर होगा तो वो इट माइट पीपल समटाइम्स दे गो बाय दी, जस्ट एज आई told you some time back that some people associate some certain ragas with certain rasas and some certain bhavas. So ये अगर आप उसका बैलेंस नहीं रख पाते हो then it becomes different. मगर हमारे in our जयपुर घराना we have so many compositions, different compositions. Normally when I compose my own bandishes, I don't like to mismatch. Like my Vilambit is trying to convey something, then my Drut also will carry forward the whole thing. It will not be different, totally different scene in the Drut. Because I am emotionally involved in the making of the Bandish, Vilambit Khyal, creating a picture of that Vilambit Khyal and the Rag through that Vilambit Khyal. So the wording also has to be proper, musical होना चाहिए. जैसे अभी I was telling somebody कि you cannot replace the words with some similar synonyms, you know. सैया जहाँ है वहाँ पिया नहीं आ सकता है. मेरो पिया, it cannot be मेरो बलमा, नहीं होगा, आपको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा.
ते कशामुळे लघु गुरुमुळे का?
नाही, म्युझिकॅलिटी त्या वर्ड्सची जी म्युझिकॅलिटी आहे आणि त्याचा कुठल्या मात्रेवर येतो, कुठल्या हेतूने तो शब्द तिथं वापरला गेला, ते अक्षर वापरलं गेलेलं आहे. समेवरती अकार येणार नाही, म्हणजे ब येणार नाही. मेरो मनवा, चांगलं वाटेल. मेरो बाल होणारच नाही. So you have to know the language, you have to know the words you are using. जैसे बंदिश हम बनाते हैं तो कोई बंदिश, for me bandish comes with the words and notes together and the tempo and the taal. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता कि मैं पहले बैठ के लिखूंगी फिर उसको अभी मैं सुर में ढालूंगी, ये मेरे साथ नहीं होता है. It all comes together. तो और उसमें मैं एक वर्ड भी इधर का उधर, एक लेटर, एक आ ई छोटा भी नहीं कर सकती, because it all is together, so much together that when I present it, it has to be together. जैसे आप यमन की ये रे आले पिया बिना, ये रे आले बलमा बिना, नहीं होगा। सैया बिना, ये भी नहीं अच्छा लगता। ठुमरी में भी ये होता है। ठुमरी में भी तो इट्स कहानी, इट इज सेइंग समथिंग। जहाँ कहना होता है, कहीं भी विलंबित ख्याल का कहना होता है, यू आर टेलिंग समथिंग, यू आर एक्सप्रेसिंग समथिंग, एंड द एक्सप्रेशन हैज टू बी, इट हैज टू साउंड स्पॉन्टेनियस। स्पॉन्टेनिटी में जो वर्ड्स आपके मुंह में जब फट से जो आएंगे वही तो गाएंगे। बताइए।
कभी आपने ताल बदल के गाया है ना, तो वर्ड्स चेंज किया कि नहीं? ऐसा हो करने की जरूरत पड़ी कि नहीं?
वर्ड चेंज मैंने
अभी बलमा जैसा टू मेंटेन द,
नहीं, हम लोगों को तालीम जो देते हैं उसमें ये बताया जाता है कि यू हैव नो राइट टू चेंज द बंदिश, क्योंकि इसमें ये तौहीन होती है जो बंदिश बनाता है उसको। आई वुडंट लाइक माई स्टूडेंट्स टू मेक चेंजेस इन माई बंदिश एंड सिंग इट। नो, तुम अपनी बनाओगा।
लेकिन यू चेंज द साइकिल, राइट? बीट साइकिल टू, you are allowed to change the beat cycle but not
distort the bandish. And the distortion can be in so many different ways. If you try it, you can do it, but then it is a distortion.
So, the use of akar and phrases during the development of the vilambit, what is sort of the role of both, and when is it aesthetically better to use? How do you combine? Is there a thought process, or you?
कोई घराने के लोग ऐसा करते हैं कि पहले से ही they start using the bowls of the bandish for alapi, but then I can't call it alap. आलपति इति आलापः, आ से जो गाया जाता है उसको आलाप कहते हैं। This is what our शास्त्र says. तो अगर आप ये गाएंगे मेरो भी, ये बोल हुआ, आलाप नहीं हुआ। कई लोग तो इसी में ही करते हैं, लोग उनको पूछते नहीं कि भाई आलाप कहाँ है, वो ऐसे ही गाते हैं। मगर आलाप की जगह पे आलाप होना चाहिए। राग को खोल के, व्हाट वी हैव बीन टॉट इज योर तालीम शोज इन विलंबत। तान तो इंसिडेंटल है, थोड़ा सा है। आजकल क्या हो रहा है, तालीम होती नहीं है तो आलाप कैसे करेंगे? फिर तान की कसरत करो, परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन करो, गला इधर उधर इधर उधर घुमाओ और लोगों को दिखा, हाँ क्या तान जाता है,
पानी परोसो।
चल रहा है। होप सम टाइम विल कम व्हेन पीपल विल आस्क देम टू जस्टिफाई कि वे क्या कर रहे हो। अगर तालीम ही नहीं देते हैं, लेते ही भी नहीं है, बताइए।
तो इतना सुनने के बाद, मतलब जब भी आप जैसे विद्वान लोग आते हैं और हमें ये सब बताते हैं, ये नॉलेज, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सिर्फ थोड़ा सा भी अच्छा बनना इस म्यूजिक में बहुत डिफिकल्ट है। मतलब इट रिक्वायर्स सो मच प्रैक्टिस टू इवन गेट दैट काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ नोट्स दैट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, दैट काइंड ऑफ इवन critical audience or musician to be like that. So how can people like us, who have regular jobs or students, they have to do their work. We don't have like 6-7 hours a day to practice.
मैं भी नहीं करती हूँ 6-7 hours.
No, but to start with. So how much practice is needed?
ऐसा होता है, प्रैक्टिस, गले की प्रैक्टिस जो है, टू कीप योर वॉइस इन कंडीशन, पहले आपको थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ता है, बिकॉज इट इज समथिंग, अ न्यू काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटी फॉर योर वॉइस। ठीक, आप बोलते हो, गाते नहीं हो। बोलने को गाने में तब्दील करने के लिए वोकल कॉर्ड्स को डिसिप्लिन करना पड़ता है, मन को डिसिप्लिन करना पड़ता है। सारे सारे चलो, ये आप कहेंगे, बोलने में आपको डिफिकल्टी नहीं है। सारे सारे ये करने में डिफिकल्टी है, क्योंकि आपको सा की जगह एक पक्के रख के उसका जो बराबर डिस्टेंस है रे का, वही रीच होना होता है। नोट्स जो हम गाते हैं, स्वर गाते हैं, दे आर नोट पॉइंट्स एंड दे आर एट अ सर्टेन डिस्टेंस। सारे सारे चलो ये नहीं होगा। अगर मुझे सारे सारे चलो, अगर आई वॉन्ट यू टू सिंग इट दिस वे, देन इट हैज टू बी दिस वे। तो ये जो डिसिप्लिन है, इसके लिए आपको खुद को वो एक बुद्धि डेवलप करनी होती है। फॉर दैट यू नीड टाइम। जैसे मैंने कहा कि अब मैं हिंदी में थोड़ा सा बात करूँगी कि जैसे मैंने कहा कि आपको सुर का संस्कार देने के लिए पहले जैसे होता था कि पहले तानपुरा बजाने के लिए बिठाया जाता था। आप देखेंगे बड़े गुलाम अली खान साहब, अब्दुल करीम खान साहब इतने सुरीले कि उनके गले से आदमी ट्यूनिंग करे परफेक्ट हो जाए, इतने सुरीले थे। क्यों? सारंगी थे। अब्दुल करीम खान साहब ने घंटों तानपुरा बजाया है, केवल तानपुरा बजाया है। हमको भी हमारे घर में हम उनको सिखाने बैठते हैं, श्रुति चलो तानपुरा बजाओ। पहले से लगता था कि तानपुरा बजाना है, मुझे गाने क्यों नहीं बढ़ता है, कहते तानपुरा ही क्यों बजाना है। देन आई फाइनली माई फादर से कि तुम्हारा काम तानपुरा बजाना है, गाना नहीं सुनना है, गाना मत सुनो, तानपुरा बजाओ। एंड आई स्टार्टेड लिसनिंग टू द तानपुरा एंड स्लोली द नोट्स, द प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द नोट्स बिकेम फिक्स्ड इन माई माइंड। सुर की प्रतिष्ठापना जिसको कहते हैं वो पहली होनी चाहिए, उसके लिए समय लगता है। आपके घर में सुर का अगर वातावरण नहीं है, आपके घर में तानपुरा बजता नहीं है, आपने तानपुरा ज़्यादा सुना नहीं है, तो सुर की स्थापना कैसे होगी? तो उसके लिए आप लोगों को मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। हाँ, आपको सुर के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। फिर वो गले में बिठाना, आपको सुनाई दे रहा है मगर वहाँ अपने गले को ले जाना, दैट इज़ अनदर एक्सरसाइज। उसके लिए आपको थोड़ी पहले ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। बट वंस द नोट पॉइंट्स आर फिक्स्ड इन योर ब्रेन, उसको लेकर देन इट इज़ अप टू यू टू प्रैक्टिस योर म्यूजिक। वॉट एवर यू माइट बी डूइंग, आपके हाथ कोई भी काम करने दो, आपका दिमाग गाना करता रहेगा।
नहीं, आपने जैसे पहले बताया था कि 5 से 9 क्लास करते हैं, जैसे आप 4 घंटे क्लास करना, मतलब या तो 4 घंटे इंसान
वो भी मेरे लिए कम था। बाद में मेरा शुरू हो गया कि मैं उनके पास रोज सुबह 7 सवा 7 बजे जाती थी और 9:30 बजे तक मेरी क्लास चलती थी रोज का। वो भी बहुत कम था मेरे लिए, मतलब। और उसमें भी क्या होता था कि एक क्लास में I used to learn not less than 4 to 5 ragas and new bandishes, because my capacity was that. He was giving to me because I was capable of taking it. हम बाकी लोगों को, मेरे शिष्यों को मैं नहीं दे पाती हूँ। कई बार ऐसा होता है 1-2 रागों की तालीम होती है 4 घंटे में, 5 घंटे में, क्योंकि वो राग की पूरी छवि उनके मन में उतारना, that is a difficult thing. जैसे मैंने अभी केली को सिखाते हुए मैंने कल भी कहा था कि सारे ग रे सारे प ग, आपको पता चलेगा कि भूख है। नेरे ग रे सा ने द नेरे ग म ग, यमन है। तो ये जो छवि 1-2 मिनट में सामने आती है, उसका जो स्वर चित्र होता है वो आपके दिमाग पर उठाने के लिए, उसको इनग्रेन करने के लिए टेक्स टाइम।
किती वेळा तुम्ही सगळ्यांना बसायचं आहे किंवा तुम्हाला?
मला काही नाही, त्यांच्या प्रश्नाचं मला एक फक्त उत्तर द्यायचं है। अबाउट द जोड़ रागस, हमारे यहाँ जो जोड़ राग थे, जैसे अभी आपने जो देखा कि हवेली संगीत की बात आपने की है, हवेली संगीत का भी प्रभाव खान साहब के ऊपर हुआ था। और उस ज़माने में क्या होता था कि हवेली संगीत में जो होता है, मैं बताती हूँ कि उसमें श्री कृष्ण की लीलाओं का वर्णन होता है। और हवेली संगीत इज मोस्टली डिवोशन टुवर्ड्स लॉर्ड कृष्ण। ठाकुर जी के चरणों में उनकी सेवा अर्पण की जाती है, वो एक काव्य के रूप में की जाती है। और इट इज सेट टू रागदारी। उसमें जब बाहर बसंत के वर्णन हो जाते हैं, फूलों के वर्णन हो जाते हैं, तब बाहर का थोड़ा सा एक आभास दिया जाता है, अंग दिखाया जाता है बाहर का। नॉट दैट यू आर गोइंग टू सिंग अ पैचवर्क ऑफ बहार एंड बसंत या हिंडोल एंड बहार, उसमें थोड़ा सा बाहर का थोड़ा सा खुशबू आपको दिया बस। तो ये सेंस ऑफ प्रोपोर्शन जो है वो जयपुर घराने में बहुत ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, और इसलिए जयपुर घराने में बहुत सारे जोड़ राग गाए जाते हैं। और ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारे यहाँ एक बार एक मेरे एग्जामिनर के साथ मेरी बहुत झड़प हो गई थी क्योंकि मैंने मेरा चॉइस का राग नंद रखा था, और उन्होंने मुझे पूछा, हाँ बताओ श्रुति, शास्त्र क्या कहता है कि इसमें कौन से राग हैं? मैंने कहा शास्त्र में इनके अनुसार, पंडित अमो के अनुसार इसमें बिहाग है, ये है, वो है। अच्छा, इनके अनुसार ये है, ये गौड़ सारंग है वगैरह। अच्छा, तो इसका गौड़ सारंग निकाल के दिखाओ। मैंने कहा इसमें गौड़ सारंग हम नहीं गाते। तो बोले क्यों, उसमें परे है। मैंने कहा परे केवल गौड़ सारंग में होता है क्या, नट में नहीं होता है? बोले हाँ, मुझे सवाल पूछ रही है। मैंने कहा हाँ, आपने परे के लिए मुझे गौड़ सारंग कहा है, तो परे तो नट में भी आता है, परे यमन में भी आता है, तो नंद में ये राग कैसे, कहाँ से आता है? मैंने कहा जयपुर घराने में when we are taught ragas like nand or any जोड़ राग, क्विल्ट जैसा होता है, टुकड़े सिला के साथ में, उस पर आप हाथ फेरते हो तो आपको हाथ में अंदर नीचे गांठ लगती है कपड़े के सिलाई की। आप पर्शियन गलीचा पे हाथ, कालीन पे हाथ फेरते हो, आपको कोई गांठ नजर में आता है, कोई हाथ में गांठ फील होता है? जयपुर घराने के जोड़ राग पर्शियन गलीचे के जैसे होते हैं। मेरे 8 मार्क्स कम हो गए, मेरा फर्स्ट प्राइज गया बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ ऐसा सिखाया नहीं जाता कि इसमें ये नंद है, इसमें से यहाँ भी आ गए, यहाँ गौड़ सारंग है, इसमें मांड कहाँ है। मैंने कहा क्यों? आप एक राग के नाम पे, पूरे एक राग के नाम पे तालीम ले लीजिए, क्योंकि गाते समय अब मुझे इसमें मांड दिखाना है, अब मुझे गौड़ सारंग दिखाना है, अब मुझे ये दिखाना है, मैं गाऊंगी कभी? फ्री फ्लो कब होगा मेरी इमेजिनेशन का? When I'm not comfortable, I have to be always on the lookout कि यहाँ मांड दिखाना है, यहाँ ये दिखाना है, वो दिखाना है। I can't sing that. I'm not taught that. तो जयपुर घराने की जो तालीम होती है, वो जोड़ जो होते हैं वो ऐसे एक साथ मिल जाते हैं कि वो कहाँ से कौन सा राग मिल गया, कहाँ से कौन सा शुरू हो गया, पता नहीं चलता। इसलिए जयपुर घराने की खासियत है, दूसरे घराने में इतने जोड़ राग नहीं करते। आगरे वाले गाते हैं, मगर वो आगरे वालों को जो कोई बंदिशें जो मिली है, कई सारी राग की तालीम मिली है, वो खास सबसे ही मिली है।
I mean, we could go on forever, but tomorrow we also have a concert.
एक क्योंकि आपने तानपुरे के बारे में आज काफ़ी कुछ मतलब मुझे काफ़ी उसका ऐसा लग रहा है कि आप एक वर्कशॉप कीजिए, कैसे मिलाना चाहिए तानपुरा, या कुछ अगर टाइम परमिट करे तो हो सकता है।
हाँ, शायद नेक्स्ट वीक में देख सकते हैं।
ठीक है, ओनली खाली फोकस विल बी ओनली तानपुरा, नथिंग एल्स।
तानपुरा मुझे लाना चाहिए यहाँ पे।
एक्चुअली हाँ, आई मीन यहाँ पे नहीं है तो मैं मेरा ला सकती हूँ।
यहाँ नहीं,
आई डोंट नो है क्या।
नहीं, कल कॉन्सर्ट में रहेगा।
अच्छा, नहीं, बट दैट विल बी अ कॉन्सर्ट, आई डोंट वांट टू मिक्स विद।
हाँ हाँ, नहीं कल नहीं,
इट हैज टू बी ओनली तानपुरा,
वो अलग से कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, आप हैं एक वीक तक यहाँ पे? अरे वाह, तब तो मैं कोशिश करती हूँ आने की, बट रियली इट वाज सो इंफॉर्मेटिव। थैंक यू सो मच,
थैंक यू,
धन्यवाद।